We now look at the three unities, which is a very important concept, especially if we have to understand classical plays and also the works of neoclassical writers. So, this concept was initially introduced by Aristotle, and it is basically a prescriptive theory of dramatic tragedy. Tragedy always complied with rules more than comedy. In fact, it was considered to be a more elevated literary genre, a more exalted literary genre as compared to comedy. So, three unities are basically observed in the genre of tragedy. And these are all because Aristotle was the one who came up with the concept of three unities. These are also called Aristotelian unities or classical unities, since he was writing in the classical age. Now, what are these three unities? So, the first unity, you can look at the diagram over here, which makes it simpler. So, the first unity is the unity of action. So, it was recommended that tragedy should have one principal action. There should not be too many plots, there should not be too many subplots. Because that would add to the confusion. So there should be only focus on only one plot, one principal action. So and the whole narrative would then center around that principal action. So this was what was meant by the unity of action. Like you can say, see over here, the description says a play should have one action that it follows with minimal subplot. So there shouldn't be too many distractions. That is what is meant by unity of action. Next, we go to unity of time. Now, what do we mean by this? That the action in a play, or in this case, a tragedy, should occur over a period of no more than 24 hours. So, the whole action of the play should finish within the span of one day. That is what the ancients believed. So it couldn't exceed the time limit of 24 hours. And finally, we come to the unity of place, which said that a tragedy should exist in a single physical location. So the setting should be only one geographical location and not multiple settings or multiple cities, because that will become very unrealistic. Now, here we have to remember that by tragedy we mean tragedy that is being performed on stage. So obviously the classical critics or the ancients who conceptualized the three unities, or for that matter Aristotle, who was behind this concept, they must have conceived these unities because they had to bear in mind the fact that these were being performed on stage, and they had to be convincing, they had to be realistic, and they couldn't afford to be far fetched, and people had to take them seriously, which is why we have the notion of the three unities.